There's a reason life feels harder than it used to. It's not just inflation or rent, it's the fact that a lot of people hit adulthood without knowing how to actually be an adult. Boomers in schools dropped the ball on passing down the basics, and now we're watching Gen Z and even some millennials are turning to Google and Bing for what used to be common sense. The internet is filling in for what parents used to teach, and that should tell you something. Searches like how to clean a bathroom vent, how to use a mop, and how to set up autopay have hit record highs in 2025 according to Google Trends. These aren't obscure questions anymore, they're the new normal. The skill gap is real, and it's growing fast. This piece lays out what's really happening. We'll break down the generational gap, why these basic life skills are missing, and how it's quietly reshaping work, education, and even parenting. Check out the full details by visiting the link in the description. Why are so many people struggling with life skills? Before we get into the tasks everyone's Googling, we need to talk about what's missing. One of the biggest gaps is in schools. Less than a third of high school students take any kind of home economics, shop, or personal finance class anymore. The system traded real-world prep for test scores, and it shows. The other missing piece is at home. Parents either didn't teach these skills or didn't know them well enough to pass them on. Add in screens, busy schedules, and a hands-off approach to chores, and you've got a generation that's long on information but short on ability. The good news? This can still be fixed, but it starts with calling it what it is. Generational neglect dressed up as modern convenience. So let's look at the most searched life skills in 2025 and what they really say about how we're living. How to do laundry. Still one of the most searched life skills. It's wild that laundry still tops the list of adulting searches in 2025, but here we are. So many people hit adulthood without ever learning the difference between colors, whites, and what a permanent press cycle actually does. Washing machines haven't gotten harder, but teaching has all but disappeared. The result? People ruin their clothes, panic, and head straight to YouTube. It's trial and error on something their parents should have walked them through when they were 12. If laundry seems complicated, it's only because no one made it simple early on. This is what happens when you outsource life lessons to Google. How to use a mop. Cleaning is now a teachable service. The phrase, how to use a mop hitting record search volume isn't a punchline, it's a sign. Basic cleaning skills used to be learned just by living in a house. You saw your parents do it, then you did it, then you stopped thinking about it. Now we've got people in their 20s and 30s standing in front of a mop with no clue where to start. It's not that they're incapable, it's that they were never asked to participate. And once you miss those early lessons, it gets intimidating fast. What should be a 5-minute chore turns into a professional cleaning bill. That's not convenience, that's dependency. How to change oil, the skill most drivers don't have. Car maintenance used to be one of those things you just picked up. Your dad, your uncle, a neighbor, they showed you once, and it stuck. Now nearly half of US car owners aren't confident they could change their oil. And that's why how to change oil keeps popping up in trend data. The scary part? A lot of them don't even check their oil. They just assume the car will tell them when it's time. That kind of passive mindset is a great business model for mechanics and a terrible one for your wallet. You don't need to be a full-blown gearhead, but you should at least know what's under the hood, because repairs are always more expensive than maintenance. How to use a credit card, free money or future debt. Credit cards are one of the most dangerous tools in the hands of someone who's never been taught how they work. Most people swipe, tap, or click without knowing what interest means, how minimum payments barely move the needle, or what a credit score is tied to. It's no surprise that how to use a credit card keeps climbing in search volume. The problem isn't access, it's instruction. You hand someone a financial weapon without a manual, and they end up in trouble. Then they blame the card, not the silence that led to it. There should have been a conversation about building credit, grace periods, and how debt snowballs. Instead, there's just confusion and late fees. This is how avoidable mistakes turn into lifelong regrets. How to use a washing machine. Simple tech, missing training. Washing machines have been around for generations, but every year more people search for how to use one. It's not a technology problem, it's a learning problem. Modern machines still do the same thing. Agitate, rinse, spin. But the people using them are starting without the basics. The fear is real. They worry they'll break it, or destroy their clothes. So instead of learning once, they keep guessing and Googling. The irony? These same people grew up with smartphones but are stumped by buttons labeled delicate. This isn't about effort, it's about what never got taught. How to file taxes, the annual panic button. Every spring, Google searches for how to file taxes skyrocket. That's not a coincidence, it's an annual reminder that most Americans are financially underprepared. Schools don't teach tax forms, deductions, or even what filing jointly means. And home isn't much better. Tax talk gets shoved aside like it's too grown up to deal with. So what happens? Panic. People sign up for online tax software and pray they don't make a mistake. And that's if they're filing at all. Plenty just avoid it altogether. Taxes aren't just about paperwork. They're about understanding your financial life. And most people never got the memo. How to use a hammer. A basic tool too many avoid. It sounds ridiculous at first, how to use a hammer being a top search. But once you think about it, it makes sense. If someone never held one growing up, never built anything, never fixed anything, then even a hammer becomes intimidating. This is what happens when experience gets outsourced to professionals too early. It's not about strength or intelligence. It's about never being handed a tool and told, go fix that. No trial, no error, just avoidance. A hammer used to be a starter kit for self-reliance. Now it's viewed like some specialized trade skill. That shift doesn't make life easier, it makes it more expensive. How to set up a bank account. Basic finance. Big gap. You'd think opening a bank account would be second nature in a digital-first world, but it's still one of the most searched adulting tasks. That's because knowing how to open an account isn't the same as understanding why you're doing it or what type you actually need. Online banking made it easy to avoid asking questions, but that doesn't mean people are confident. Instead, they move through it like a maze, clicking buttons and hoping nothing breaks. It's not that they're bad with money, they've just never been shown how to handle it. The basics got skipped, and now the bank is just another app, not a tool for building stability. How to clean bathroom vent. The hidden search that says a lot. You don't hear people talk about bathroom vents, but the search data is loud and clear. Cleaning them is one of the fastest-growing how-to topics in 2025. That's because most people don't know it's even a task, let alone one that matters. Dust builds up, airflow gets restricted, and before long you've got a mold issue you can't see. It's not glamorous, but it's real life. And that's the point. There are hundreds of small, quiet responsibilities that keep a house running, and they're all invisible to people who were never shown what to look for. Bathroom vents, dryer filters, water shutoff valves. These aren't advanced lessons. They're chapter 1. But no one handed out the book. How to put up a picture. Why DIY is dying. Hanging a picture should be a quick win, measure, drill, anchor, done. But for a lot of people, it's a full-blown mystery. They've never used a level. They don't know which wall anchors to buy. And they've definitely never been shown what's behind drywall. That's why this search is more common than ever. It's not about the picture. It's about a lost sense of doing things for yourself. At one point, small home fixes were part of growing up. Now people either call someone or leave it in the box. DIY has quietly morphed into DIF. Do it for me. That mindset has a price tag. Why this adulting crisis is also a business boom. This skills gap isn't just a personal problem. It's become a business opportunity. Every one of these missing lessons is now a paid service. Handyman gigs, housekeepers, adulting coaches, and content creators are cashing in on what used to be common knowledge. It's no coincidence that platforms like YouTube and TikTok are loaded with how-to content. Someone saw the demand and built a career on it. That's smart, but it also shows how much we've lost. The more we outsource the basics, the more money we spend to stay functional. At some point, we either relearn what we've forgotten or keep paying for it forever. Skills or bills? Your choice. You don't need to be an expert in everything, but you should know how to run your own life. The search trends make it obvious. People are looking for answers they should have already been given. The more basic tasks you avoid, the more money you'll bleed over time. You can either learn the skill or keep paying someone who did. That choice adds up in dollars and independence. Teach your kids, or don't be surprised when they hire someone to screw in a light bulb. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends. Also, don't forget the link in the description.